So we're here this morning and we're going to talk about the age-old question: should you sharpen your lawnmower blade right when it's brand new, out of the box, after you've gotten it? Now, there's a lot of different proponents and opponents to this, depending on which way you look at it. There's a lot of different finishes of blades also. Now, some of them are matte, some of them are nice and shiny. Some of them, they even include this nice fancy packaging on it to make it seem like it's a super sharp blade that's gonna cut you if it didn't have plastic on it. Now, this is a Murray brand, Briggs & Stratton, whatever you want to call it now. But I mean, that's got a good sharp edge on it, but it's not anything that's gonna cut you straight out of the package for sure. Now, these blades that are just matte here, I don't know if it's got a coating over the top of it to just keep it from rusting straight from the factory or what, but something like this that's not painted, this whole surface is going to rust the first time that you get this thing into the grass and you cut with it. Now, this edge here, even if it gets rusted up after it sits there with some wet grass on it after a minute, this edge is going to be completely cleaned back off when you cut it anyway, whether it's the paint on the edge of it or it's, you know, a little bit of surface rust on the edge here. This cutting surface, which is really only about the first 3 or 4 inches of the blade, is going to be cleaned right up just by that grass flowing over the top of it at the cut edge. So, you know, whether it's painted or not is really kind of irrelevant, because this paint is not going to last. It's going to be gone that first mow anywhere where the grass actually hits at. And the rest of the blade, or the paint on the blade, is going to be gone as soon as grass continues to hit there at any other area while you mow with it. So whether it's painted or not, completely irrelevant, no matter the brand, make, or model. Now, a lot of people will tell you that sharpening these blades straight out or from the factory is going to give you a lesser life to your blade. Now, I will agree with that in some sense, that if you file this down to a razor's edge and you are hitting rocks or sticks or anything like that with it, it is going to give you less life out of this blade, because the blade is going to have to be replaced a lot sooner, because you've been ruining this edge that was thinner than when it came from the factory. Now, if you're somebody who's policing their yard and picking up sticks or rocks or anything like that before you're mowing, your blade isn't going to be damaged nearly as quick. And people will tell you that this sharper blade, if it's a razor's edge, is going to give your grass a lot better health, and it's going to control disease. Now, I'm not a grass expert or anything, but sounds good to me anyway. But a lot of these, if you're looking at the edges of them, they've got these spots where, you know, they tell you these are balanced, but with all these extra nicks and all these extra bumps and stuff out of the blades here, you know, like something like this, got a big chip straight from the factory. So things can change in shipping after these have been, you know, painted and balanced and everything from the factory, they say. Sometimes straight out of the box, you may get something that's not balanced. Now, I would say that's pretty good shape, but it's not 100% balanced. That blade is falling one direction or the other. So that's going to tell you right there that that blade on this side is heavier, and that's the side with the chip out of it even. So, you know, a lot of times they're going to show that straight from the factory. So sharpening and balancing these right after you get them, before you install them, is great in certain instances, but it's horrible in others. Now, if you're a commercial guy that's going to go out and you're just going to roll 10 mile an hour through any field without even looking at what you're going through, you're going to notice that your blades are going to be completely trashed after a short period of time. There's no doubt about it. If you're getting it down to a razor's edge, you might as well just put that original blade from the factory on your unit and roll with it until it starts to get dull. Move from there. Now, again, it doesn't matter the brand, maker, model. You know, we've got rotary ones here, we've got simplicity ones here, we've got MTD blades, we've got AYP blades, Murray blades. They're all, you know, similar qualities, and a lot of them, actually, rotary makes a ton of the OEM blades for people. A lot of them. So whether they say rotary or not, or you know, it's just a chunk of steel. They're not really that hard to make, and not really that special of a thing. You know, these Simplicity or Snapper blades, you know, they're standard quality. If you look at the rotaries, they're in pretty good shape, but look at the nicks that are out of that thing straight from the factory there. I mean, that's a pretty good gouge. That's gonna change the level of this blade some, or the balancing of this blade some. Yeah, so I mean, it's not horribly off, but it's definitely not perfect either. So like a lot of the other blades, sharpening and balancing them, definitely a good idea straight out of the box, but only if it's a situation where you're going to take care of the grass before you mow it. If you're not, you might as well forget about it, because otherwise that longevity of that blade is going to be shorter. It's not going to last as long if you're not taking care of that grass. Now on a 30-inch blade, something like this, if you've got it off balance out here, and it doesn't have to be much, a gram or two, that's going to change the balance of the whole blade, especially out here at this tip. So is that going to cause you less life out of the mower? It's probably nominal, to be quite honest. May not be, you know, that much life, but it off balance always creates vibration, always creates more wear, no matter the situation. Honda blades, these are great. They're kind of like a powder coated. You know, feel nice and sharp and stuff like that, but they could still be probably about half the width at the outside edge to make it a nice razor sharp cut. And that would be great. That would make your lawn just look amazing if that was a better blade, you know, if it was sharp as opposed to just being kind of a butter knife. But does everybody need a razor sharp edge when they're cutting anything? Now the answer is definitely no. You know, if you're just wanting to get the grass cut, you're not really worried how it looks, hey, cut whatever you like. But again, if you look here, this is a customer's mower that he brought in. We replaced the blades. He cut one time with these blades. So these have hardly been used. One cut, and I think he has about a half an acre. But the outside, 3 to 4 inches, is the only part here that still doesn't have paint. So all the paint's gone on this 3 to 4 inches here, and then also at the backspin where the grass hits as it goes up. So where it kind of mulches and pulls things up. Now the blades create, and this is an OEM blade, the blades kind of create a suction, suck this up, they cut it, and then the backspin hits it and kind of mulches it up as it flies. So here's the other side. Again, one cut on that, and that paint is completely gone. There's no reason for that paint, but once that paint's gone, it does kind of get you down to the metal there and creates a little bit sharper of an edge because that paint's gone. Now, I don't know why they do that, if it's because they want it to look good coming from the factory, if it's a safety thing, they don't want you to cut yourself, even though none of these are sharp enough just to cut yourself straight off the blade. But age-old question, should I sharpen them or not? In my opinion, the answer is yes, it'd be good to sharpen them. Most times, do we sharpen them coming straight off and putting them onto a mower? The answer is no. It's only if a customer asks us to. Otherwise, we use the OEM spec blades as much as possible, and we replace them and don't think twice about it, because most of these people aren't worried about whether their grass is pristine at the top edge forever. You know, they're worried about just getting the grass cut, you know, so it's really to each their own. There's pros and cons of doing it either way, but I would say only do it if you're somebody who really cares about the way your yard looks, and if you're really going to take care of the yard before you're cutting, and pay attention to those things. Otherwise, leave it the way that it is, run it, sharpen it only when needed. Should answer your question, I hope. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.